Hello everyone. I'm Mrs. Rekha Hassan, Assistant Professor of English, Government First Grade College, Kabul. The session is on the novel Nampally Road by Meena Alexander. This novel has been prescribed for Sem 4 BBA of Mangalore University with a text titled Compulsory Foundation Course in English. Today's session is 13. It starts with the chapter 4 with the character Laura Ribaldo. Before going to the session, we would like to have a quick recap of the previous chapter, The Terrace at Night. In this chapter, we see Meera and Ramu sitting in the New Mysore Cafe, peeping through the window the busy street of Hyderabad, the Nampally Road. In this chapter, we see Meera trying to scribble something in her notebook, and Ramu, who is not interested in writing, who is interested in action, as he is an activist, he calls Meera's writing as a ghazal. She is facing with many conflicts within herself. While she was in England, she had to get adjusted with the foreign culture. So with the symbolic way of descent, like eating with her left hand and going to the night parties, she tries to adopt herself to these Western culture. And she was helped by Miss Foxglove, who was the daughter of Warden. The local Swami becomes the friend of Siddharth, and who was later caught by police with the charge of smuggling watches and minute electronic parts. When Meera received the job offer from Sona Nivas College of Hyderabad, she quickly accepts it. She becomes a prisoner to the vagaries of celebrated writers. Many times she relates herself to the poet of Wordsworth. She finds a connection with Ramu, and she tries to explore her sexuality with Ramu. Meera and Ramu, they go to the Gawliguda police station. Ramu went to the police asking for a woman Ramiza Bey, and there we find the social issues and Limca Gowda spending a fortune for idolizing himself. Limca Gowda, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, longed to popularize himself with the dead rival NGR, the previous Chief Minister. He failed to provide his own people the basic necessities. Instead, he opens a soda company in the name of his son-in-law and drinks bottle after bottle of soda, and even advertises for the soda drink. And in this way, the chapter ends with ever ready men and their work with the chief minister. Now coming to the session 13 of chapter 4, where we find the character Laura Ribaldo and her relationship with Mira and her family. Laura Ribaldo, as she was introduced while giving the brief sketch of the characters in the beginning, she was the neighbor of Durgabai. And the chapter begins with Mira, who couldn't sleep that night because she was troubled by bad dreams. Her mind was occupied by a woman locked up in the police station. She wanted to know who was that lady and wanted to talk to her. She felt like her mind was tearing apart and couldn't concentrate on her writing. That is, she used to scribble the poems in her notebook. She couldn't concentrate on the Wordsworth poem, which she had to teach in an hour's time. In order to find a solace to her mind, she returns to the realm where actions made sense and lives were lived out with compassion and common sense. She decided to talk to Little Mother Durgabai, but as the Little Mother, she had a C-section the previous night and wanted to take rest. She asked Mira to fetch a cup of dahi from Laura. Already the Mira was troubled by the scene of the unknown woman who was there in the police station. Mira, who was not able to see who the woman was because she stood behind the trunk of the tree. This made her to question herself whether she was a coward or it was an old trick of femininity, hanging back a little until the coast clears. Mira unwillingly went to Laura for dahi, as she was asked by Durgabai to bring from Laura's house. Now we are given a brief sketch of Laura Ribaldo. Laura Ribaldo was the nearest proximate neighbor of Dr. Durgabai and best friend of Rani. Rani, who was the fat servant in the house of Durgabai. The old coconut tree stood between Durgabai and the small flat of Laura Ribaldo occupied. Laura and Rani shared the whole world, a fantasy life built on films and the life of film stars. They learned all they needed, visited Sakartakis, which was the next door cinema house. Both had a same taste for synthetic clothing, bright sugary drinks. Unlike Rani, who was satisfied with the comforts of her daily life, movies, sweets, odd bits of silver or stainless, she stole from Little Mother's pantry and sold for the price of 2 nylon saris. Laura had a desire to flee to Hyderabad. Her husband Henry was a cruel man. This is about the life of Laura Ribaldo, her family. where her husband Henry was a cruel man who used to beat her every day. Laura's three sisters were in Canada. They wrote her letters filled with the news of shopping malls that were places of chrome and plastic, crammed with the glittering things to buy and even the vegetables, as they are covered in plastic. All these were told to Rani, the lifestyle of Canada, and how her sisters enjoyed their life in Canada. Laura always used to find consolation in her friendship with Rani. With this, the session 13 comes to an end. If you would like to have further reading, go to the text Compulsory Foundation Course in English for the BBA degree program, SEM 4. Thank you, one and all.